Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone, to setting conference goals. First off, thank you to Wanjun and Tiffany for a great presentation on introduction to conference attending. If you haven't checked out that video, please go do so. We're going to be building off of their video, so please keep that in mind. So Sanhita and I today are going to be talking about setting more specific conference goals. All right, so we're really thinking about three different kinds of conference goals. We're first going to talk about networking goals, then we're going to transition into inspiration goals, and finally we'll end on attendance goals. And it is important to set your goals so that you can assess after whether you met those goals, whether those goals maybe have been too far, too close. It's always good to have goals, even if perhaps they're unattainable at times. So first, to think about networking goals, it's important to have some plans before you attend AERA. So as Wanjun Tiffany talked about, identifying scholars that you want to connect with, searching colleagues, who are your colleagues working with, who are you reading in papers beforehand, who are you citing, looking up their names in the conference programs as people that you might want to connect with. We are also going to talk about identifying events where you can meet like-minded graduate students through the Motivation SIG, but then also the Motivation SIG frequently collaborates with Division C and other SIGs so that you can also meet other people from other SIGs as well. So to talk a little bit about connecting with scholars, as I mentioned, looking through the AERA program, recognizing prior work, finding any current work that interests you, just searching names to see if they're on a presentation at AERA and thus they might be attending AERA, especially if they're like first author where they might be giving a talk or a presentation, then that speaker is likely to attend AERA. If they're on the conference presentation, but they're not the first author, then perhaps they might not be attending AERA. But still, you can always just send, if you want to connect with a scholar, sending an email, asking for coffee, perhaps saying that you found one of their papers interesting and talking about what you particularly enjoyed about that. You can always send an email. The Motivation SIG, as we already mentioned, hosts the Care-Better Conversations with a motivational researcher. As Tiffany and Wanjun talked about, this is where there are motivational researchers that are willing to meet with groups of 4 to 5 graduate students, and you have you have those small group conversations with the researcher as well as meeting other graduate students. And this is a first come, first serve basis, and it usually fills up. So please take advantage of this opportunity. I have the tiny URL here, and that deadline is March 31st. Thinking more about network goals in terms of graduate students, the Motivation SIG does have a lot of programming designed to connect graduate students. First off, there's the MoTSIG Social, which was already discussed, but there's already an email with tickets for graduate students about this. So this will take place on Friday, April 25th. I believe that's right after the business meeting, and tickets are free for graduates. There are some tickets set aside that are free for graduate students. There will also be the MoTSIG Graduate Student Social that is yet to be announced, but that will be only graduate students as well as potentially other SIGs that might collaborate with the social hour, and that will be really informal where you can talk to other graduate students within the Motivation SIG and get to know them. That's usually held again in a formal atmosphere like a food court or somewhere else where there's a large space where we can get together and host. Also, we have the MoTSIG in Progress research event that will take place on Saturday around midday. As mentioned before in Wanjun Tiffany's presentation, this is roundtables. Specifically, we are aiming to have 4 roundtables with about 18 presenters this year. This is our biggest year. So we're excited to host all of our presenters as well as other graduate students that would like to attend and have a choice between 4 different topics of which roundtable they would like to attend. And again, these are pretty small groups of We were aiming for like 10 to 15. We'll see based on attendance, but then you can chat with other grad students in the MOTSIG. There's also the MOTSIG, a mentor-mentee program that has recently been announced. The deadline to sign up is April 4th. Now this, if you're watching this and you are a first-time AERA attendee, then you can sign up for this program and get matched with a mentor, whether that be a more advanced graduate student or early career researcher. And that way you can connect with them. Ideally, you are going to be matched based on similar research interests, and perhaps I've done it before where there's an introduction via email and then you plan to meet sometime at the conference and just get to know each other one-on-one. And that's a great way just to meet people, get some advice for attending AERA if you have very specific questions. So please sign up for that if you're a mentee. But on the other side, if you're watching this and you've attended AERA, you are more advanced, like please consider signing up as a mentor and sharing your knowledge and skills for attending AERA. And that announcement has been announced through X, as well as the motivation newsletter, the graduate student newsletter as well. So please keep an eye out for that. All right, now when you meet people, it's very important to have some sort of introduction prepared. Again, you could have it written out like I have it on the screen here, just a very short example for me. I like to write mine out every now and then just to make sure my words are articulated clearly and that I'm prepared. I actually have had someone, a faculty member at AERA, be like, could you just give me your elevator pitch? Like, I just want to hear what you study and what you're interested in. So just keep it in mind, but this can be more of a conversation as well. Like, I have mainly these 4 parts where just a brief introduction, then second sentence is talking about what I study, third research sentence is talking about a project that I'm currently doing, and the fourth research sentence is talking about my future goals or where I want to go as a researcher. Again, this is very basic, but there might be pauses where someone might follow up, oh, well, tell me a little bit more about this, or tell me a little bit more about this. So again, this could be very conversational as well. And to transition into an activity, we ask if you would like to now create a short elevator pitch to introduce yourself to scholars and graduate students. I've included the things that I've listed here, but again, you can tailor this depending on information about you or other things that you would also like to include and tell people about yourself. Okay, for the sake of time, we'll just go ahead and move on. All right, I'm going to transition it over to Sanhita to talk to us a little bit about inspiration goals.
Great, thanks.
Did you want me to stop sharing my screen, or how did you feel?
I'm okay with either. I can share my screen, so it's easier for me to transition.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay. Okay, just want to make sure everyone can see my screen. Okay, awesome. Great. So inspiration goals. ARA, I think, is such a fertile ground to get some inspiration. And it could be wherever you are in your research journey, whether you're in the beginning and you don't know what you're doing, whether you're in a slump, or whether you're just like looking for things to inspire you and like vibe with you again. I think these are really important to think about before going to ARA. Okay, so I think the first thing is just why do we set inspiration goals? I think one of the first things is to align passions with concrete research. Like I'm really passionate about, let's say, belonging or, mixed methods or skill development, right? So, but you don't know much about what that would look like in like a research study, and maybe look at researchers who are doing that and what a day-to-day looks like. I think attending talks around those areas is a really great way to sort of align those passions and see what that would look like. Staying motivated by engaging with meaningful work. Again, it's a grad school, it's long, it's grueling. There are times it's an ebb and flow. There are times where in the sort of in a slump, and ARA is a great place to sort of find joy and find love and find meaning in what you do. And discovering new potential collaborators. I mean, this is a great way to be like, hey, what you're doing is really cool. Here's what I think about it. Here's what I'm thinking about it. Do you want to collaborate? It can be really small. You can maybe even just start with attending lab meetings or meetings, sit in on the research meetings. But I think this is a great way to sort of be inspired and feel the love, feel the joy. Right. So where do you focus, right? How do you go about setting these inspiration goals? I think keynote invited talks, because we have really prolific scholars usually coming at to these talks. So that's a great place to get inspired. Look at scholars you admire. Who are you citing? Which paper sort of changed your life? Who wrote that paper? Go to their talks, see what they're doing, see what they're talking about, see the language they're using. I think that's great. Symposiums are a great place for like niche research interests. We've had things on critical methods, we've had things on critical studies. So that's a great way of getting like really find those niches that you're interested in and going to those symposiums. Posters and roundtables, I think, are a very intimate way of meeting the presenters and discussing. You could just walk around the giant poster hall and stop at as many or as few posters that you like, or even go to the titles and then be strategic about which posters you go to. And roundtables are also a great way to engage with research. Right? Just like a pro tip is to sort of bring a notebook, a laptop, or a tablet to sort of jot down what inspires you, which sort of brings me to my next, right? How do you make the most of inspiration goals? It's not just about listening, but also engaging. And by engaging, I mean, jot down themes that resonate with you. Think or write down how the work presented or spoken about connects with your work and sort of extends your thinking. And talk to the scholars, like after the sessions or even at social events, or if you meet them at a corridor, be like, hey, I saw the session. I would really like to chat with you if you have the time, or even an email after the conference. Like I've had scholars being very, very nice. People at both are usually very nice and always open to like chatting about how you're thinking about things and conceptualizing things. So always following with an email if you're too intimidated, and if you think the scholars seem busy, it's absolutely fine. Follow it up with an email, and they're usually very nice to respond. And discuss yelling with your peers, any supervisors. Go to the Motsic social, uh, find your mentor, and talk to them about, hey, I wanted this session. Here's what I'm thinking. Right. So just engaging in that sort of makes it for a much more richer experience than just listening, right? And just a reminder here is that everyone you admire started where you are. They were in grad school someday. They were sitting in those chairs, feeling scared, going up to scholars. So it is fine. They've been there, so they get it. And they've been people here are very nice. So just start, just engage. It might be small, it might be big, but the idea is to engage, right? That's how we grow. Yeah, so that's all I have for you for inspiration goals. I'm gonna toss the ball back to Rachel now.
All right, thank you so much, Sanhita. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see that? I think we're good. Okay, great. Also, when I'm attending sessions with inspiration goals, I mainly keep a notebook because I prefer handwriting things, but I do challenge myself for every session that I listen to, like write down one thing, whether it's a term that I don't know, whether it's a method I don't know, or whether there's something that connects to my work. So that's me trying to engage in something that maybe I don't know a lot about, or maybe I'm not finding as much value, but I can still try to engage with every single presentation and take something away from it. So thank you so much, Sanhita. I'm going to transition to attendance goals now. First off, we can attend the MoatSig business meeting. That takes place on Friday, April 25th. Again, this is right before the social. The social is the same day, and that starts at 9 p.m. So I assume a lot of the MoatSig members will transition from the business meeting to the social if you would like to join us. At the business meeting, you will hear about activities that the SIG puts on, about different, about the meeting at AERA, awards, other SIG activities, so you can hear more about the SIG, and if you're interested, get involved in some of the activities that happen. There's also times here afterwards to talk to people and network and get to know folks as well. So I would highly recommend attending the business meeting. Again, attending presentations of people you know or work with. That's mainly one way. You might have even heard their presentation before or practice, but just supporting them and thinking about them means a lot as a presenter. So if you have the time to do that, and then also attend presentations that interest you. There's so many different SIGs and divisions at AERA, so challenging yourself to attend something that maybe you wouldn't normally attend something that challenges what your current let's say maybe research or your thinking or anything that potentially you might not attend normally. I try to do that as well. And again, you don't need to attend everything on your schedule, as we've kind of emphasized, like AERA is a marathon, not a sprint. It's 5 days total if you do plan on attend all of it, and you're able to do so. In terms of like creating the kind of what you might attend, there will be an app available. So that's something you could download. Personally, I always plan my events outside. I usually use like a sheet or I use Google Calendar, because I found that the app cannot be the most reliable. And that way, if I use a sheet or calendar, I can see a lot of things at once and what's scheduled at the same time. And I can also try to put in breaks with my schedule. Again, taking breaks is very important, as we previously heard from Wanjun and Tiffany, so that I can see what that overlap looks like and I can plan out. And, I might put everything on my schedule that I want total, but again, that is an overwhelming and not ideal schedule. There will be times where I have to pick presentations, or if a colleague goes, "Oh, are you going to this presentation? I heard I think this would be really good." And you say, "Oh, I have this on my calendar," but things happen, things change at AERA. It's very fluid. You can plan for all the events that you want to go to and then miss something and then end up attending something else. Just everything that's going on. So please take time for yourself to recharge and for your social battery, for your mental battery. Just take care of yourself. All right, we have an activity that right now I'm trying to set in a little bit of planning beforehand. So taking a look at our Moat SIG program and you can also look at other SIGs or Division C more broadly, and just kind of looking at the topics and think about, number one, which sessions stand out to you and why are these sessions stand out to you? Is it because of interest? Is it because of someone that the title that interests you, or is it someone that you've read that interests you, the name is catching? And then again, are there any presenters that you recognize and would like to connect with? So moving further than that, do you want to send an email beforehand or afterward, or try to ask them a question at the end of their talk one-on-one? We'll take a few minutes to do, we have this activity to do so. And then I believe we have one more activity. So maybe we'll transition to that too. All right, so connecting with your previous goals of at the end of Tiffany and Wanju's session. So taking those goals and categorizing or building upon to fill out these 3 buckets, perhaps. Networking goals, who do you want to meet, build connections with, scholars, peers, potential collaborators, inspiration goals. What particularly is there something that you want to learn, or any sort of methods, any new topics? Attendance goals, session talks or events that you want to attend for learning or professional growth, or perhaps attendance goals could just be related to the place itself. Like, I want to try a new restaurant that I haven't tried, or I want to go out and I want to do this and explore the city in some way. So also attending the sessions at AERA, but beyond that, to take some time for yourself or your collaborators or friends and explore the city of Denver or wherever AERA is next. And so we'll take some time now to take a moment to add goals to these 3 categories, categorize and add on to them. All right, and we will end with all of our links that we've shown, so they're all in one place, if you're interested. And again, keeping an eye out for emails from the MOTSIG committee, as well as the MOTSIG graduate student committee for dates and times of other events, such as like the MOTSIG graduate student social that is yet to be announced. So please stay updated with that. And I think that is all we have, and we look forward to seeing you at AERA.